Echoes from the past. In the far reaches of the galaxy, a planet lay forgotten. Its surface was barren, with jagged rocks scattered across an endless red horizon. No one had stepped foot there for thousands of years, until now. A sleek alien ship hovered silently above the planet. The crew inside was a mix of curiosity and nervousness. They were archaeologists from the Sendarian species, known for their endless pursuit of knowledge about the galaxy's forgotten past. Leading the group was Tavel, a seasoned explorer with bright silver skin and a reputation for uncovering the unexplainable. The team landed their ship in a clearing near a series of ancient ruins. These structures, half buried under layers of dust and sand, stood like forgotten giants. The air buzzed with an eerie silence, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. "Spread out," Tavel ordered, his voice calm but firm. "We need to document everything." The team began their work. Thin drones flew out from the ship, scanning the area while the archaeologists carefully brushed away dirt from the ruins. Within an hour, they uncovered strange markings etched into the stone walls, symbols no one had ever seen before. Tavel leaned closer, his glowing eyes narrowing as he studied the markings. "These don't match any known civilization," he muttered, his voice tinged with awe. "But they resemble something I've read about in old texts." One of the younger crew members, a bright-eyed alien named Keela, tilted her head. "What do you mean, Commander?" Tavel hesitated, as if weighing whether to speak. "There's a legend," he finally said, "about an ancient species called humans. They were said to be creators and destroyers, capable of feats that defied logic. But they vanished long before our time. Their name was erased from records, almost as if the galaxy wanted to forget them." Keela shivered despite the planet's dry heat. "You think this place is connected to them?" Before Tavel could answer, a sudden sound echoed through the ruins, a low hum that seemed to come from the stones themselves. The team froze, their antennae and sensory equipment on high alert. The humming grew louder, and the ground beneath them began to vibrate. "What's happening?" Keela shouted, her voice trembling. One of the drones flew closer to the largest structure, a towering obelisk covered in mysterious symbols. It scanned the surface, and as it did, the symbols began to glow a faint blue. The humming reached a deafening pitch, and before anyone could react, a pulse of energy shot out from the obelisk. The pulse hit one of the archaeologists, a tall alien named Dravik. In an instant, he vanished, leaving behind nothing but a faint shimmer in the air. The rest of the team stared in horror, their equipment crackling with static. "Dravik!" Tavel yelled, running toward the spot where his colleague had stood. But there was no trace of him. No footprints, no signs of struggle. Just empty air. Keela's voice wavered. "Commander, what was that?" Tavel turned toward the obelisk, his face grim. "This place is not just ruins. It's a warning." The team gathered near the ship, their nerves frayed. Keela clutched a small tablet, analyzing the data from the drones. The energy signature from that pulse. "It's unlike anything we've ever recorded. It's ancient." Tavel nodded, his expression unreadable. "And powerful. More powerful than we can comprehend." As the crew debated their next move, the obelisk began to glow again, this time with a steady light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Keela stared at it, her fear replaced by a strange sense of wonder. "What if the humans aren't gone?" she whispered. "What if they're just waiting?" Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Tavel looked up at the glowing obelisk, his mind racing. The legend spoke of humans as protectors, but also as beings capable of great destruction. If they had left something behind, it was either a gift or a threat. "We can't leave yet," Tavel said finally. "We need to uncover the truth. If this is connected to the Ancient Ones, the galaxy deserves to know." Keela hesitated. "But what about Dravik? What if the same thing happens to us?" Tavel placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady. "We'll be careful, but we can't ignore this. The team returned to the ruins, their fear tempered by determination. As they worked, the obelisk's glow grew brighter, illuminating the darkened sky. None of them noticed the faint shapes appearing in the distance, ghostly figures that seemed to watch silently, waiting. For the first time in millennia, the planet stirred. The echoes of the past were awakening, and the galaxy would soon remember the name it had tried so hard to erase. Humans, the forgotten legacy. The alien crew returned to their ship, the weight of the day's events heavy on their minds. The disappearance of Dravik had shaken them, but Tavel's determination to uncover the truth kept them moving forward. Inside the ship, Keela sifted through the drone's data, her fingers trembling as she pieced together fragments of information. The scans had uncovered something extraordinary, coordinates etched into the obelisk's base. These coordinates pointed to a star system so remote it wasn't listed in their navigation charts. "Commander," Keela called out, her voice steady despite the tension. "These coordinates, they lead somewhere. Somewhere hidden." Tavel studied the data on her screen. His silver skin shimmered faintly under the dim light, his thoughts racing. A place erased from memory, like the humans themselves. "We have to follow it." The rest of the crew exchanged uneasy glances. Keela hesitated. "After what happened to Dravik, should we risk it? What if this is a trap left by something far beyond our understanding?" Tavel's voice was firm. "Knowledge is always a risk, but ignorance could destroy us. If these coordinates lead to more answers, we owe it to the galaxy to uncover them." Reluctantly, the crew agreed. The ship lifted off, its engines humming softly as they set course for the hidden star system. As they traveled through the void, the crew couldn't shake the unease that hung in the air. Even the ship's AI, designed to maintain calm, occasionally faltered with faint glitches and static interruptions. 2 days later, the ship arrived at the coordinates. The star system was eerily silent. A dying red sun cast long shadows over a single celestial body, a massive space station, its structure ancient and decayed. The station orbited the sun like a forgotten relic, its surface scarred by time and cosmic debris. "This place," Keela murmured, staring at the colossal structure on their monitors. "It looks abandoned." Tavel nodded, but his instincts told him otherwise. Looks can be deceiving. Prepare to dock. As the ship approached, a strange signal crackled through their comms, an old transmission, distorted and faint. The language was unfamiliar, yet hauntingly melodic, as if designed to evoke both curiosity and fear. Tavel ordered the AI to translate, but the system struggled to process the ancient code. "It's human," Keela said quietly, recognizing patterns from the obelisk's inscriptions, or at least connected to them. The crew docked cautiously, their steps echoing through the station's hollow corridors as they explored. Inside, they found remnants of a civilization that once thrived. Towering holographic displays, strange devices that emitted faint glows, and murals depicting a history long forgotten. One mural caught Tavel's attention. It showed a group of humanoid figures standing atop a planet, their hands raised as if shaping the very elements. Surrounding them were smaller figures, alien species, including some that looked like the Sendarians themselves. The humans were depicted as protectors, their forms larger and more imposing than the others. "They shaped the galaxy," Keela whispered, her gaze fixed on the mural. "They weren't just a part of history. They were history." Deeper inside the station, the team discovered a control room. The air was stale, yet the technology remained functional, powered by an energy source beyond their comprehension. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it rested a small, crystalline device. Keela approached cautiously, her curiosity outweighing her fear. As she reached out, the device pulsed faintly, projecting a hologram into the air. The image was of a human, a tall, imposing figure with piercing eyes and a voice that resonated like thunder. "Who dares disturb the legacy of the ancient ones?" The hologram boomed, its tone both challenging and curious. Tavel stepped forward, his voice steady. "We are explorers, seeking the truth about your people. We mean no harm." The hologram's expression softened, as if it could sense his sincerity. "The truth comes with a price," it said. "Long ago, we shaped the galaxy, guided its species, and protected it from destruction. But we were betrayed by those we sought to save. Fearing our power, they sought to erase us. And yet, they could not." Keela's voice trembled. "Why? Why would they do that?" The hologram turned its gaze to her. "Fear. We became too powerful, too central to the balance. The galaxy decided it could survive without us. They were wrong." The room fell silent as the crew absorbed the weight of the words. Tavel stepped closer to the hologram. "What happened to your people? Are you truly gone?" The hologram's eyes glinted with an unspoken truth. "Gone? No, we are not gone. We are waiting. And now, you have awakened us." Before anyone could respond, the station began to hum with life. Lights flickered on, corridors illuminated, and machinery that had slept for eons roared to life. The crystalline device pulsed in sync with the station's rhythm, as if it were a heartbeat. "Prepare yourselves," the hologram said, its voice fading. "The galaxy will remember us, whether it wants to or not." As the hologram disappeared, the crew stood frozen in the control room. Keela clutched her equipment, her voice barely above a whisper. "Commander, what have we done?" Tavel's expression hardened. "We've uncovered the truth. Now we have to face it." The station's systems activated a final sequence, and a set of new coordinates appeared on their monitors. This time, the message was clear. The awakening has begun. A galaxy's fear. The alien crew stood in the control room, the ancient station now alive around them. The rhythmic hum of its machinery filled the air, a stark reminder of what they had awakened. The new coordinates displayed on their monitors seemed to beckon them forward, but an unspoken fear gripped the team. "Commander," Keela said, her voice steady despite the tension, "if we follow these coordinates, we could be leading ourselves into something we can't control. Maybe we should return to the Council and report this." Tavel shook his head, his silver skin glinting under the flickering lights. "Do you think they'll let us live after discovering this? The Council erased the Ancient Ones for a reason. They'll do the same to us." The crew exchanged uneasy glances, realizing the truth in his words. With no other choice, they prepared the ship to leave the station. As they undocked, the station's lights dimmed, returning it to its dormant state. But the galaxy was no longer the same. The journey to the new coordinates was tense. The ship's AI, usually a reliable companion, began experiencing glitches, static-filled warnings, incomprehensible symbols, and faint human-like voices echoed through its systems. At one point, the ship abruptly changed course before Tavel overrode the controls. "It's almost like the ship itself is reacting to what we've uncovered," Keela muttered, staring at the malfunctioning monitors. "It's not just the ship," Tavel said, his tone grave. "It's the galaxy." They arrived at the new location, an isolated nebula swirling with iridescent colors. Deep within it lay another relic, this time a massive sphere of black metal that appeared untouched by time or decay. It floated silently, emanating a faint energy field that distorted space around it. As they approached, their sensors detected an anomaly, a fleet of ships entering the nebula. These ships didn't belong to the crew. They were Council ships, sleek and imposing, designed for destruction. "We're not alone," Keela whispered, her hands trembling over the controls. Tavel's jaw tightened. "The Council knows. They must have been monitoring us." The Council ships encircled the relic, their weapons trained on it. A harsh voice crackled through the comms. "This is High Commander Vraylock of the Galactic Council. By order of the Council, you are to surrender your vessel and all data collected from the ruins." Tavel leaned forward, his voice calm but defiant. "We're explorers, not criminals. Why are you so desperate to suppress this? What are you hiding?" You do not understand the danger you've unleashed, Vrylok barked. The humans were not heroes. They were a threat to all life. Their power could not be controlled. Keela interjected, her voice rising with frustration. If they were so dangerous, why does their technology still protect entire systems? Why do the ruins tell a story of betrayal, not destruction? There was a pause, but before Vrylok could respond, the black sphere began to pulse. Its energy field expanded, knocking the council ships back and sending shockwaves rippling through space. The relic seemed to awaken, its surface shifting to reveal glowing runes. A holographic projection emerged from the sphere, a human figure, colossal and imposing, its gaze piercing through the void. Its voice was calm yet commanding, echoing across all frequencies. You who erased us, your time is up. The council fleet opened fire, their beams of energy converging on the sphere. But the attacks dissipated harmlessly against the relic's surface, as if the sphere existed in a different reality. The human hologram raised its hand, and the council ships were suddenly immobilized, their systems failing one by one. On board their ship, Tavel and his crew watched in stunned silence. It's not just a relic, Tavel murmured. It's a weapon. Keela stared at the hologram. No, Commander. It's a message. The human figure turned its gaze toward their ship. To those who seek the truth, you have awakened what the galaxy feared. The ancient ones do not forget. We do not forgive. The projection vanished, and the sphere's energy field collapsed inward, sending out a burst of data that flooded the ship's systems. Charts, coordinates, and fragments of human history appeared on their monitors, revealing secrets long buried. Keela gasped as she read the data. This isn't just history. It's a map of human strongholds scattered across the galaxy. Tavel clenched his fists. This is why the Council feared them. They didn't just erase the humans. They tried to bury their legacy. But the humans planned for this. They knew they'd be betrayed. Suddenly, the Council ships regained power. High Commander Vrylok's voice returned, laced with panic. You have doomed us all. The humans will not stop until they reclaim everything. The Council fleet retreated, leaving Tavel's crew alone with the relic. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the hum of their ship. What now? Keela asked, her voice barely a whisper. Tavel stared at the map glowing on their screen. We follow it. If the Council was willing to erase an entire species, we need to understand why. And if the humans are truly returning, we need to decide if they're our saviors or our destroyers. The ship's engines roared to life as they set course for the first human stronghold. Unbeknownst to them, faint lights began to glow across the galaxy as dormant human relics prepared to awaken. The galaxy was beginning to remember, and fear spread like wildfire. Awakened giants. The ship hurtled through the void toward the first location marked on the mysterious map. The crew worked in silence, their thoughts heavy with the implications of their discovery. Across the galaxy, faint signals from ancient human relics began to flicker to life, stirring whispers among civilizations that had long buried the truth. Keela broke the silence, her voice tense. Commander, do you think they're still alive? The humans. Tavel didn't look away from the screen, his expression unreadable. If they planned this, they're not just alive. They're watching, waiting. Their destination was an unremarkable star system on the galaxy's edge. It orbited a dim, flickering sun, its planets cold and barren. Yet, as they approached the third planet, their sensors detected an enormous structure hidden beneath the surface, an ancient fortress encased in ice. Whatever this is, Keela said, scanning the data, it's been dormant for millennia. The energy readings are off the charts, but it's contained, like it's waiting for a trigger. Tavel nodded. Then let's see what it's waiting for. The crew descended onto the icy surface. The fortress loomed ahead, a colossal monolith of black metal and shimmering runes that seemed to shift under their gaze. As they approached, the ground trembled, and a deep, resonant voice echoed from the fortress itself. "You have come far, but are you worthy to enter the heart of the Ancient Ones?" The crew froze. Tevel stepped forward, his voice steady. "We seek the truth about your people. We mean no harm." The fortress's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "The truth is not for the weak. Only those who carry the strength of purpose may proceed." The ice beneath them cracked, and the crew fell into a cavernous chamber. Light flared around them, revealing an arena filled with holographic figures, human warriors, clad in armor that glowed with energy. They stood tall and imposing, their eyes burning with determination. The voice spoke again. "Prove your resolve. Face the legacy of the Ancient Ones." The holograms moved, their weapons coming to life with arcs of energy. The crew panicked, scrambling for cover. Keela shouted, "Commander, we're not soldiers. How do we fight this?" Tevel gritted his teeth. "We don't fight like them. We think like us." He activated the crew's drone swarm, directing them to disrupt the hologram's patterns. The humans' movements, precise and calculated, faltered as the drones swarmed around them, projecting false images and static interference. Keela found a console embedded in the chamber's wall, its interface glowing with unfamiliar symbols. "Commander, I think I can shut this down," she called out. "Do it," Tevel shouted, holding off a holographic warrior with a plasma torch. Keela's hands flew over the console, deciphering the symbols using fragments of the data they had downloaded from the black sphere. The warriors paused mid-attack as the chamber began to hum, its energy shifting. A single word appeared on the console's screen: "Worthy." The holograms dissolved, and the chamber filled with light. In the center, a platform rose, carrying a crystalline object. The same material as the device they had found earlier. This one was larger, pulsating with raw energy. Keel approached cautiously. "It's another memory core," she said. "But this one, it's active." When Keela touched the core, a flood of information surged through her mind. Images of human cities stretching across entire planets, fleets of ships capable of reshaping stars, and weapons so advanced they could obliterate entire civilizations with a thought. But among the visions was something darker. A betrayal by the galaxy's governing species who had feared humanity's growing influence. The final image was of a human council convening in secret. Their leader, a figure cloaked in shadow, spoke with calm authority. "If they turn on us, we will endure. We will retreat, but we will never truly vanish. When the time is right, we will return, and the galaxy will bow before the Ancient Ones." Keela staggered back, her breath ragged. They knew this would happen. They planned everything. Tevel steadied her. "What else did you see?" She hesitated. "A name. The leader of the humans. He called himself the Architect. He was the one who designed their fallback plan." The core began to dim, its energy transferring to the fortress. The walls glowed with symbols that matched the ones on the black sphere, forming a single message: "The first guardian has awakened." As the crew returned to their ship, they noticed subtle changes in their surroundings. The fortress, once dormant, now pulsed with life, sending out signals across the galaxy. These signals were received by hidden strongholds, activating dormant fleets and systems that had waited for millennia. Back on the ship, the AI spoke in an unusually emotional tone. "Commander, I am detecting synchronized energy signatures across the galaxy. Human relics are coming online." Keela looked at Tevel, fear and awe in her eyes. "This isn't just about discovering the past anymore. We've set something in motion." Tevel's voice was grim. "And the galaxy will have to face the consequences." Meanwhile, in a distant council chamber, High Commander Vraylock watched as reports flooded in about human relics activating. His clawed hand trembled as he addressed the council. "They are awakening. We failed to destroy them. Now, they will destroy us." As the galaxy reeled, the Ancient One's plan unfolded. The Guardians had been awakened, and the galaxy would soon learn that humanity's legacy was not one of extinction, but of reclamation. The first encounter. The galaxy was in chaos. Reports flooded in from every corner, relics activating, forgotten strongholds awakening, and faint human voices echoing through ancient transmissions. Civilizations that had grown complacent over millennia now trembled as they realized the magnitude of what was unfolding. On board their ship, Tavel and his crew braced themselves as they approached the next set of coordinates. Unlike the previous locations, this one wasn't hidden or abandoned. It was a thriving planet, a bustling hub of trade and diplomacy. The coordinates pointed to the planet's surface, to a structure located at its very heart. The crew landed cautiously, their ship blending into the crowded spaceport. The planet, Charon Prime, was a melting pot of species. Merchants, diplomats, and travelers bustled through the streets, unaware of the storm brewing in the shadows. Keela studied the map on her tablet. The coordinates lead to the central vault. It's where they keep the planet's most valuable artifacts. Tavel frowned. If the humans hid something here, they must have trusted that it would remain undisturbed. We need to move carefully. As they navigated the city, the crew noticed subtle changes in the air. The locals seemed uneasy, their conversations hushed. Overhead, the planet's security drones flew in tighter patterns, their scanners sweeping every inch of the city. "What's going on?" Keela asked, glancing nervously at the increased security. Tavel's jaw tightened. "The Council knows we're here." The crew reached the central vault, under the cover of darkness. The structure was a towering fortress of metal and stone, protected by layers of security. Keela worked quickly, bypassing the outer defenses using the data they had gathered from the memory cores. Inside, the air was cold and sterile, the silence broken only by the faint hum of energy fields. At the center of the vault was a sealed chamber, its door engraved with symbols matching those of the human relics. As the crew approached, the symbols began to glow, and the door slid open with a hiss. Inside was a single stasis pod, its surface sleek and unmarked. The pod's interior glowed faintly, revealing the figure of a human suspended in time. Keela gasped. It's alive." The pod's systems began to hum, its mechanisms stirring after millennia of dormancy. Tavel stepped forward, his voice steady. "If they left someone behind, it wasn't by accident. This person is important." The pod opened, releasing a rush of cold air. The human inside slowly opened their eyes, their gaze sharp and calculating. They stepped out of the pod, their movements graceful and deliberate. The crew instinctively backed away, overwhelmed by the sheer presence of the figure before them. "I am Erin," the human said, their voice calm yet commanding. "And you are not what I expected." Before the crew could respond, the vault's alarms blared. The Council's forces had arrived, their ships descending upon the city. Tavel activated his communicator. "Keela, can you get us out of here?" Keela frantically worked her tablet. "I can disable the lockdown, but we'll need time." Erin stepped forward, their expression unreadable. "Time is something we can create." With a wave of their hand, the room's energy shifted. The Council's soldiers, who had stormed the vault, suddenly froze mid-step, their weapons falling uselessly to the ground. Erin's eyes glowed faintly as they turned to Tavel. "We humans are not without defenses." Tavel stared in awe. You can control them." Erin smiled faintly. "Not control. Influence. Our mastery of energy and thought allows us to interact with the world in ways you cannot imagine. But this is only a fraction of what we once were." The crew and Erin fled the vault, weaving through the chaos of the city. As they reached their ship, the Council's forces regrouped, their commanders barking orders to neutralize the intruders. Erin stood at the ramp of the ship, their gaze locked on the advancing soldiers. "Go," Erin said, their tone firm. "I will deal with them." Tavel hesitated. "We're not leaving you behind." Erin turned to him, their eyes blazing with an intensity that silenced any argument. I am one, but you carry the legacy of the Ancient Ones. If you fall, the galaxy will never know the truth. Go. Reluctantly, Tavel ordered the crew to launch. As the ship ascended, they looked back to see Erin standing alone, their form glowing with an otherworldly light. The Council's forces converged, but before they could strike, a shockwave of energy erupted from Erin, disabling every ship and soldier in its path. As the ship soared into the stars, Keela slumped in her seat, her hands shaking. We left them behind. Tavel's voice was grim. Erin made their choice, and we have to honor it by finishing this. The coordinates from the memory core led to one final location, a hidden stronghold deep within a nebula. The map labeled it simply as the Assembly. Keela looked at Tavel, her fear replaced by determination. If Erin was just one of them, what will we find there? Tavel stared at the screen, the weight of their journey pressing down on him. The truth, Keela, and we'll make sure the galaxy knows it. In the shadows of the council chamber, High Commander Vraylock watched a live feed of the events on Charon Prime. His claws dug into the table as he whispered to himself, "We tried to erase them. We tried to bury their memory. And now they will bury us." Humanity's judgment. The ship drifted into the dense, shimmering nebula, its sensors struggling against the interference of thick cosmic clouds. Somewhere within the swirling chaos lay their destination, the Assembly, the final location marked on the map left by the humans. The crew was silent, the weight of their journey evident on every face. Keela stared at the screen, her voice soft. If Erin was that powerful, what are we about to wake up here? Tavel didn't answer. His focus remained on the faint beacon that pulsed from within the nebula. The signal was ancient yet steady, as if it had been waiting for millennia. He finally spoke, his tone measured. "We've come too far to turn back now. Whatever's in there, it's our only chance to understand." As they navigated deeper, the nebula began to thin, revealing a massive structure that defied comprehension. It was a station unlike anything they had seen. Colossal and elegant, its design a testament to human ingenuity. The Assembly glowed faintly, its surface covered in intricate patterns that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. "By the stars," Keela whispered. "It's alive." The ship's AI chimed in, its voice unusually subdued. "The structure appears to be a hybrid of organic and synthetic technology. Its systems are fully operational despite its age." Tavel brought the ship closer, and a docking port opened as if the station had been expecting them. As they stepped inside, they were greeted by a vast chamber illuminated by soft, golden light. The air was heavy with energy, each breath charged with an almost electric intensity. In the center of the chamber stood a circular platform. Surrounding it were thousands of stasis pods, each containing a human. Some appeared old, their features lined with wisdom, while others looked barely out of adolescence. All were perfectly preserved. Keela's voice trembled. This is the Assembly. They're all here." As the crew approached the platform, it activated, projecting a towering hologram of a human. This one was different from Erin, more authoritative, its presence radiating command. The figure spoke, its voice deep and resonant. "You have reached the Assembly. State your purpose." Tavel stepped forward. "We seek the truth about your people. Why you disappeared, and why you're returning now." The hologram studied him, its gaze piercing. "The truth is not simple, alien. We are humanity, the architects of the galaxy's foundation. We guided civilizations, shared knowledge, and defended against chaos. But your kind, your council, feared us. They betrayed us, erasing our legacy to seize power." Keela interjected, her voice shaky but determined. "But if you were betrayed, why didn't you fight back? Why disappear?" The hologram's expression shifted, almost mournful. "We did not disappear. We chose to retreat, to allow the galaxy to grow without us. But we left safeguards, guardians, and a contingency for when the galaxy would need us again. Tivel's voice was firm. And now, are you here to reclaim what was taken or to punish those who wronged you? The hologram's eyes glowed brighter. That decision is not mine to make. It is theirs. It gestured to the stasis pods, and the chamber began to stir. One by one, the humans awoke, stepping out of their pods with an elegance that belied their centuries of slumber. They moved as if they had never left, their eyes scanning the chamber with quiet resolve. A woman with strikingly golden eyes approached Tevel. Her presence was commanding yet calm, her voice melodic but firm. You are the ones who woke us. Speak. Tevel explained their journey, how they had uncovered the ruins, activated the relics, and encountered the Council's desperate attempts to suppress the truth. The woman listened in silence, her expression unreadable. When he finished, she nodded slowly. You have done well to come this far, but the galaxy is not the same as we left it. Your council has grown corrupt, and the civilizations we once nurtured have become shadows of their potential. Keela's voice broke through the tension. Are you going to destroy us? The woman's gaze softened. Destruction is not our purpose. We seek balance, but balance requires judgment. The humans gathered on the platform, their voices low as they deliberated. The energy in the chamber shifted, growing heavy with anticipation. Finally, the woman turned back to Tevel and his crew. We will not destroy the galaxy, she said, but we will not stand idle while corruption festers. The Ancient Ones will return, not as conquerors, but as guides. Those who seek harmony will thrive under our wisdom. Those who oppose it will face the consequences of their actions. Tevel felt a weight lift from his chest, but Keela's brow furrowed. And what about the council? They'll never let this happen without a fight. The woman's golden eyes glinted. They will be the first to learn what it means to face humanity's judgment. As the humans prepared to leave the assembly, Tevel's crew stood in awe. Ships that had been dormant for eons began to stir, their engines roaring to life with an elegance that dwarfed modern technology. The humans moved with purpose, their resolve unshaken. Before they departed, the woman placed a hand on Tevel's shoulder. You have done more than most of your kind. When the time comes, remember this: humanity does not forget its allies. The crew returned to their ship, watching as the assembly came alive. The humans' fleet began to emerge, their ships like shimmering phantoms against the nebulous backdrop. Tevel turned to Keela, his voice low. This isn't just about humanity anymore. This is about the galaxy's future. Keela nodded, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. And the galaxy is about to remember who it owes everything to. In the distance, the Council's fleets began to mobilize, their leaders desperate to maintain control. But against the might of the Ancient Ones, their desperation would soon turn to terror. The stage was set for the galaxy's reckoning. The Ancient Ones remembered. The galaxy held its breath as the first human fleet emerged from the nebula, sleek and imposing, their design defying all known conventions of engineering. The shimmering ships were silent yet resonated with an undeniable authority. From the council chambers to the outer colonies, the message was clear: humanity had returned. Tevel and his crew watched from their ship as the human fleet aligned in a perfect formation. Keela broke the silence, her voice barely above a whisper. It's not just a fleet. It's a declaration. Tevel nodded grimly. And now the galaxy will have to decide. Stand with them or against them. The Council's desperation. In the council chambers, High Commander Vrylock stood amidst chaos. Reports of humanity's awakening poured in from every corner of the galaxy. Relics that had once been dormant were now active, their energy signals spiking. Civilizations were scrambling to understand what was happening. This is your fault, one council member shouted. You assured us the humans were gone. Vrylock's claws scraped against the table as he slammed his fist down. Silence. We underestimated their contingency plans. But we still have the advantage of numbers. Their fleet is powerful, but the galaxy stands united against them. A transmission interrupted their argument. The golden-eyed human woman appeared, her expression calm but commanding. "This is Leora of the Ancient Ones. To the Galactic Council, we offer a choice. Relinquish your control and allow balance to be restored, or face the consequences of your betrayal." The council erupted into shouts, but Vraylock stepped forward. "You dare threaten us? The galaxy doesn't belong to you." Leora's eyes glinted. "The galaxy belongs to those who protect it. You failed. Now we will correct your mistakes." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the council in stunned silence. The battle for the galaxy. The council mobilized its fleet, thousands of ships converging on the edge of the nebula where the humans had gathered. It was a show of force meant to intimidate, but the humans remained unmoved. Their ships floated in eerie silence, their energy fields pulsing faintly as if waiting. Keela watched the standoff from her ship's monitor. They're outnumbered 100 to 1. How can they win this? Tavel's voice was low. Because they're not just fighting with weapons, they're fighting with purpose. The Council's fleet opened fire first, beams of energy tearing through the void. But before the blasts could reach their targets, the human ships activated a shimmering barrier. The energy dissipated harmlessly, as if it had never existed. Then the humans retaliated. Their ships moved with precision, weaving through the Council's fleet like dancers. Their weapons didn't fire destructive blasts. Instead, they released pulses that disabled the Council's systems, rendering entire battalions useless. One by one, the Council's ships fell silent, drifting powerless in the void. The Assembly's revelation. As the battle raged, Tavel and his crew received a transmission from Leora herself. Her golden eyes filled the screen. "You have done much to bring us to this moment. Now, we ask for your help." Tavel straightened. "What can we do?" Leora's voice was steady. "Spread the truth. The Council has suppressed history, silenced dissent, and betrayed those they were meant to protect. The galaxy deserves to know who they are, and who we are." Keela nodded, her fingers flying over the console. "We can broadcast to every system. Every civilization will see what's happening." With a few keystrokes, the cruise ship began transmitting the footage of the battle, the awakening of the Assembly, and the Council's attempts to suppress the truth. Across the galaxy, beings watched in awe as the Ancient Ones dismantled the Council's fleet without destroying a single life. The galaxy's decision. As the Council's forces crumbled, their remaining leaders attempted to flee, but they found their paths blocked by human ships, which encircled them with unyielding precision. Leora's voice echoed across all frequencies. "To the Council and all who follow them, your reign is over. The galaxy will no longer bow to fear and corruption. You will face judgment, not from us, but from the civilizations you betrayed." Planets that had long suffered under the Council's rule began to rise. Inspired by the humans' actions, species across the galaxy rebelled, toppling Council outposts and reclaiming their autonomy. The humans did not intervene. They merely watched, ensuring balance was restored. The legacy of humanity. As the dust settled, the humans did not claim the galaxy as their own. Instead, they became its guardians, guiding civilizations without ruling them. Leora addressed the galaxy in a final broadcast. "We are the Ancient Ones, but we do not seek to dominate. Our purpose is to protect, to nurture, and to ensure that all species have the chance to thrive. Remember this, humanity does not forget, but we also forgive. Let this be the start of a new era, one built on unity, not fear." Epilogue. A new beginning. Tavel and his crew returned to their ship, their mission complete. Keela stared out at the stars, her expression thoughtful. "Do you think the galaxy will ever be the same?" Tavel shook his head. "No. But maybe that's a good thing." As they prepared to leave, a small human shuttle approached their ship. Leora stepped aboard, her presence as commanding as ever. "You have done more for the galaxy than most will ever know. Humanity owes you a debt." Tavel met her gaze. What happens now? Leora smiled faintly. Now, we rebuild. Together. The ship soared into the stars, carrying with it the hope of a galaxy reborn. Humanity's return was not the end. It was the beginning of a story yet to be written.